because Enzo is a draw. I think Enzo, you can see enough of his shirts in the crowd, his hair wig thing in the crowd. I think this is good for the 205 Live, and I think it's good for Enzo. I think this is the WWE pulled the right strings on this. I think they're using him in the best way possible right now.
Yeah, Paul, do you agree that the new Enzo is the way to go here?
Absolutely not. He's an asshole. I don't like how. I'm going to be honest. I don't like it. It just leaves this. Sometimes when you get like a face turning heel, there's like this. Yes, finally. Yeah, stop this. It's been stale. I agree that Enzo's whole act and his whole shtick has been stale, but to me, this just rubs me the wrong way. I just don't like how it comes across because, I question his wrestling acumen. I think that,
But he's entertaining, Paul.
Do you think that that he's kind of shooting, and that he's shooting, and then it's kind of offensive because, listen, you're like tooting your own horn. You're basically saying anybody who's ever said anything bad about me, they're just stupid, and they don't know what they're talking about, even though most of them are accurate and true. The people that are saying he's getting kicked off tour buses and not allowed backstage. So he's kind of using it like, instead of, he's kind of, I can see where you're coming from. When I was watching the other day, it was like he was just crapping all over the entire 205 Live, and it was coming from a way that he wasn't coming from a Neville perspective, in which Neville has kind of earned the reason to do that. He's been around forever. He's very athletic. He's very good. He's coming in here and he's crapping on them, pretty much saying, I sell a lot of merchandise. I'm a prima donna.
Yeah, but I think it's a good move. I think it's a great move. I think this is going to create a little controversy. I think it's going to make 205 Live a little more interesting because I'll be honest with you, I don't watch it.
How long does this last? That's my thing, because I think this is a one and done kind of thing, because so basically what Enzo has done, he's questioned the integrity and the credibility of the entire Cruiserweight division, which, on the face, I love Neville, and Neville is fantastic, but, I wasn't clicking my heels to watch, 205 Live as it is, and I just don't like the angle that, he's coming in, he's like, I'm here for 5 seconds and I'm already your champion. And he's just, the entire dynamic. It just rubs
what
me
he's
the wrong
doing
way.
is he's doing what everybody says The Rock and John Cena are. He's doing that, but he's acknowledging it. He's like, yes. You're right. I am only coming here for tonight. I only need to come here for tonight because I'm a superstar. Except for the difference is The Rock and John Cena have quite a history to back it up before. He's been here. He's like a hot, fresh thing. He hasn't, been around for 20 years to kind of earn this changeover. And he's coming in like The Rock, except for right out the gate. He's brand new. He's like a one-hit wonder, and he's trying to sell that. Like, I don't need to be here. I'm better than this, even though, hey, you just got called up from NXT 2 years ago.
I think it's great. I'll stand pat. I think it's going to be good. I think he's going to have a little bit of a title run. I think it's going to be all right. I think 205 Live is going to be better for this. I think this is the character that Enzo needs to be. I love the way he shoot. He kind of like, he tears up. He literally just walks. They all line up on the ramp, and he like goes down the line and starts ripping each one of them apart. I think it's great because it's good to have your quote unquote your champion of your division, so to speak. I mean, look in the back of the day with the corporation and stuff like that, where you have your guy who's the champion. In this sense, it's not the WWE champion, but it's the Cruiserweight champion, where he can be pompous and he can just run his mouth, and he's like, all right, y'all can't do anything about it right now. And the best part was he goes to Kurt Angle before that and says, if any of these guys touch me, can you make sure they don't get a title shot? I think the whole thing's excellent. I think it makes 205 Live more interesting, and I think it's better for Enzo right now because it's the perfect timing, because obviously the whole Cass thing is done. Cass is going to be out of the picture for a while anyways with his ACL injury. So I think this is going to be money, and I think this is going to I think it's going to boost his merchandise sales up even more, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think this is very interesting. The problem I just find of it is that it seems like this is the real Enzo. It's one thing if it's like a character, but I feel that Enzo is really speaking from the heart. He's really that type of person, and that's kind of why it sucks, because it's like the people that don't like Enzo. I mean, I'm kind of for it, but at the same time, I'm like, the people who don't like Enzo, and this is the reason why they don't like him. Now he's just coming out, and that's his character. He's that person in real life. Well, that's what like Corey Graves has said. He's that person in real life.
He gets that reaction no matter what, whether it's cheers or boos. He's going to get a reaction, and until the merchandise sales kind of and that's, you got to think of it. WWE is a business. And if they're going to sell, that's why he's getting this push, is because WWE is, they're buying the stock in him right now because WWE is making him money. And they're vice versa. They're making each other some good big, merchandise checks. So here's the thing. You're going to ride it out and see where it goes. And if his merchandise sales go down, it's a business. First things first, it's a business. And if Enzo starts, if he starts to kind of go downhill with his, with his sales and merchandise, guess what? They'll move on. Because obviously Neville couldn't do it because Neville, and he even said it, Neville never got them out of the last hour of the show. I mean, it was always, in the middle? In that 9 o'clock hour. So here's my thing. It makes 205 Live. I won't go that far and say must-see TV, but it piques my interest where I'm like, okay, maybe I'll flip it over to the WWE Network and check this out.
Yeah, I mean, he does get, and more importantly, he makes Neville more of a face and more of a fan favorite. Now people are kind of more rooting for Neville than they ever have before.
Do you think Neville's that good on the mic?
No.
I don't, because I'm watching that back and forth, and I think in that segment, obviously we know Enzo is a great mouthpiece to begin with anyways, but to me, I'm watching that, and I think this, and you're right, it's going to help Neville because Neville is not the strongest mic worker. It's like the combination. Neville is a hell of an in-ring performer, and you got Enzo, who is a hell of a mic worker. You put them into one package, so to speak, you got yourself a hell of a talent. Because Neville,
I don't think, just to jump in here, and not to question your wrestling acumen, as I questioned Enzo's, Brandon, but I don't think Neville is terrible on the mic. I'm going to be perfectly honest.
I don't think he's that good. I think he, and let me ask you this.
It's not really any fault to him. It's his accent and
his delivery.
His character. I don't think it's his fault.
His delivery is
it's not his fault, but that doesn't make him any good.
I don't think just some guys can talk on the mic and some guys can't. It doesn't matter how much coaching you get. It's some guys can talk and some guys can't. I mean, that's why guys, certain guys need managers. That's why Brock Lesnar, he has Paul Heyman chirping, and all he does is say, "I will beat you," kind of a thing, and that's all he has to say, because then he can flex his muscles and look angry. Because Brock Lesnar, let's be honest, Brock Lesnar cannot. He cannot talk on a microphone. He's not very good at that. It's not what he's known for. So Neville, to me, is just not. He's a great in-ring performer. That I think we all can agree on. But the mic skills, and it's not because of his accent, because some of the folks with the accents they're not bad. Like Cesaro, I think Cesaro's come a long way. I think Cesaro's mic skills have come a long way. Sheamus, I think he's decent on the mic too.
I just feel that Neville's character is not like Cesaro's. Neville is a little more hardened. So he can't. Yeah. He's got to speak more beastly, I guess. Like I said, it's not really Neville's fault. It's like I say, it's not really Pharrell on the bench's fault. But he's got to be on at 2:00 in the morning because that raspy voice on sports radio is like the worst thing in the world. And he can go to all those SU colleges he wants for communications, but Pharrell on the bench has got to be on at 1 a.m. because I don't want to wake up in the morning and go, "Hey, it's time for what are you watching tonight on Sports Talk Radio? UCLA won a big one." Paul knows what I'm talking about over here.
More than you know.
More than I know. Boy, that guy's voice really hurts me. And a lot of people say my voice hurts, and that's why I'm not broadcasting WWE over here, and Corey Graves is. But when we return, because we're going to take a quick break right now, it is our biggest segment of the show, our favorite segment of the show. It's the 3 count, 3 questions that we've been pondering and put together to ask the panel and the Twitter universe as you are listening to the Heels of the Face podcast on Sports War Radio, Rat Pack Radio, and now on iTunes.
The New York Jets are rising and are ready to compete in the AFC. Boyd Green and Ty Butler will give you everything you need to know about the Jets every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. From reviewing the previous game and looking ahead to the next matchup, to all of the news and 4 downs, the Jet Zone has everything. Follow at BoydGreen25 and at Ty D. Butler on Twitter. Proud member of Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
This program is simulcast on WRPR Rat Pack Radio. Go to ratpacksports.com for more information.
Do you want to stay up to date on the latest sports news? Come check out After the Whistle from 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday night. We talk about the NHL, we talk about the NFL, we talk about the MLB, you name it, we got it. Tune in on Sports War Radio.
Now is the time to get your voice heard. Sports War Radio is now accepting applications for driven and knowledgeable sports fans who want to start their very own podcast about their favorite team. Sports War Radio has an international audience and is growing fast. Don't miss the chance to become the go-to news source for your favorite team. Email sportswarradio@gmail.com and tell us why you would be a great addition to our team. Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
Now is the time to get your voice heard. Sports War Radio is now accepting applications for driven and knowledgeable sports fans who want to start their very own podcast about their favorite team. Sports War Radio has an international audience and is growing fast. Don't miss the chance to become the go-to news source for your favorite team. Email sportswarradio@gmail.com and tell us why you would be a great addition to our team. Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
Let's get back to the action. This is the Heel to the Face podcast on Sports War Radio.
Back here on the Heel to the Face podcast on Sports War Radio. It is time for the 3 count, our 3 questions of the week that we put together to ask the Twitter universe and our panel, as we start with our Twitter question of the week. Now, I was watching this Bella's show because it came on after Raw the other night, and I don't know why I was still awake. But I was watching that as well as kind of following along. Nikki Bella, as we know, is on Dancing with the Stars. You know, Brie Bella, her pregnancy, you know, is a little bit in the past now, and there's been a little rumors and a little bit talk from them that they want to get back in the ring. Not just one, but both of them want to get back in the WWE and competing again, as they're both back in top physical shape, if you will. I think Brie Bella is pretty close to it. I know Nikki Bella obviously is, but the question is, does anybody have any interest in seeing the Bella twins compete? Now, being in WWE is one thing. Existing is one thing. Competing, like going for the women's championship, being back in the running, Brie Bella tagging up with her sister. Our Twitter universe said 67% no.
No, absolutely not. I don't want to see it anymore. I'm good with the whole thing where they're doing their reality stuff. I think that's great. I do watch the Total Bellas. I do watch, Total Divas. I watch those shows. I think it's interesting to see what they do like outside of wrestling. I think it's kind of cool. But outside of that, I don't care for them to be in the ring again. I just don't think they're that great of in-ring competitors. We have gals like Asuka. Are you okay there, Paul? You coughing?
Sorry.
What's going on?
Sorry. Yes, yeah. Sorry. I had something in my throat. Continue, Brandon.
As I was saying, you have Asuka, you have Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Paul's favorite Bayley. We have the whole crew there. We don't need them anymore. They're not. They're
leftovers from the diva generation, and more importantly, they were the divas. Nikki Bella, I'll give her credit. She definitely competed pretty well.
Yeah,
but when they came in, they never came in to compete.
No,
they came in as models.
They came in for the sex appeal, so to speak. They came in because they're twins, and the fans. I
think they were learning how to wrestle like after they've already been in WWE for a couple of years.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I will give them this. They got better with age and with experience, hitting the ropes, so to speak. But even their best performances are nowhere near any of the girls or I should say ladies in the women's division. I don't think they're entertaining because of who they are and their personas now. But in-ring competitors, I think that's done. I think they need to move on from that and maybe you keep the Total Bellas thing running, you keep the Total Divas thing running because they bring the appeal because they're still affiliated with WWE. But I don't think the in-ring thing. I think that's completely shot, to be honest.
Paul, do you agree with this?
No way. I couldn't disagree more.
You want to see the Bellas back in the ring? All right.
100%. And here's my thing. Like, Brandon, I'm going to be honest. Apparently, we're not going to agree at all with anything.
We usually don't anyways.
That's also true. How is Nikki Bella not even in the same conversation as any of these other... I don't know.
She's entertaining, but she's not a great wrestler. She's entertaining. I don't think she's that great a wrestler. I don't think she has, a couple moves, and then she uses her elbow. I mean, I like to see competitors. I mean, I'll tell you right now, you give me one of the girls, Asuka, you give me